2001: A Space Odyssey. I'm not breaking any ground making this video, let's be real, the film came out in 1968. But if you would rather go watch a 12-part series about the meaning of the monolith narrated by somebody who seems like he's moments away from ending his own life, be my guest. Let me explain! Oh god. Hello everybody and welcome to YouTube Explained. My name is Vinny and on this week's episode we're going to be taking a look at 2001: A Space Odyssey. Now the intro of course was a joke. I have a lot of respect for those people, you know, the people who make these analysis videos. Not quite sure their girlfriends agree with me though. So I decided to divert from my usual internet video stuff after seeing the film recently at the Prince Charles Cinema here in London. This isn't a sponsored video, but you know, it could be. 2001 was directed and produced by the Mr. Stanley Kubrick. He also wrote the film with the help of Arthur C. Clarke, who wrote a short story called The Sentinel, which is the basis for the film. If you're interested in really getting down to, you know, what this film actually means, then I really recommend you go and read the short story. It's actually quite incredible, and it's in the description down below. You have no excuse. The film follows a voyage to Jupiter with the sentient computer HAL after the discovery of a strange black monolith which seemingly has a great impact on human evolution. You could even say that it is the cause of human evolution. Or is it? Now, I'm going to be referencing two theories in particular. The first of these two theories being Kubrick2001.com, which is a pretty basic look at the film, but it does get the point across, and a theory from a YouTuber called Collective Learning. Kubrick2001.com's theory admits the existence of extraterrestrial life. The monolith would have stemmed from those extraterrestrials. The monolith is a sentinel being a person or thing which stands as if watching. So the monolith was planted by beings from another world or dimension in order to observe human progress throughout its lifespan. But why? According to the short story by Clarke, The Sentinel, the object that they found on the moon was a machine that served to alert the beings who planted it there of any intelligent life, so that when the machine went off they could come back and meet us. So bear in mind this story differs from the actual film. It was only used as a basis. I mean, in the story the monolith isn't a monolith at all, it's a pyramid. Stanley Kubrick's 2001 on the other hand has a different feel to it. But let's back up. At the beginning of the film, we observe the human race in their most primitive form. The apes seem to be herbivores, they live in harmony with the animals, they feed off of plants, they get into some non-violent hijinks with other tribes, but that's about it. After the monolith is revealed, however, the apes discover the tool. They use the bone to smash in other apes' heads and eat animals and turn against nature pretty much, and turn against themselves. Now, in my opinion, the common misconception of the monolith is that it caused these evolutionary leaps, when in fact, I really don't find or see any evidence to suggest that. Just because it shows up at the same time doesn't mean it caused it. These apes developed the tool thanks to their characteristics such as fear and curiosity and courage, not because some big black thing appeared. The reason the monolith appears at this stage in humanity is that it's observing this next big leap that man is about to take. And it also serves as a comparison. We'll later use this to compare the apes' reaction to the monolith to the astronauts' reaction to the monolith later. The monolith is simply there to observe these great evolutionary leaps, not to trigger them. Now we move on, and tools have developed from bones to spaceships. Humanity is taking its first steps into space. The masters of Earth are children in space. Without gravity, man must learn to walk again, amongst other things. He needs to learn to shit again. He needs to eat baby food. Another thing to note is that human tools are taking a very human form, leading to the HAL computer, who mimics the human brain and nervous system. As I said before, when the scientists discover the monolith on the moon, they do not approach it with fear or curiosity like they did back in their primal stage. No, they approach it with arrogance and confidence. An arrogance that they have too easily acquired when they are in space, a place that they cannot control. This causes the screech that is emitted from the monolith at this stage. Now, this does not mean that there's an alien somewhere pressing a button and creating this screech. It's purely symbolic. Now, fast forward to HAL and the Jupiter mission, the meat and potatoes. Hal's primary objective is to discover and is to carry out the mission. Now the humans, through Hal's eyes, are a hindrance to the mission. They're slowing it down. They need to sleep just to get from one place to the other. They're boring. They require breathing. Machines don't have to breathe. And the exaggerated breathing in some of these outdoor space scenes done by Kubrick is representing the fact that men are fish out of water in space. They are 100% out of their element. Now, this is where I disagree with this theory. Now, on the website it states that Hal makes a mistake, that he makes an error, and that causes the humans to rebel against Hal. No, Hal does not make a mistake. Anybody with any common sense, really, or just a little bit of knowledge into the IT tech world knows that computers don't make mistakes, machines don't make mistakes, people make mistakes. A machine will do what you build it to do. If it does something other than what you intended it to do, then you built the machine wrong. The machine didn't make an error, it does what it's supposed to do. They carry out the function they were designed to carry out. Hal did not make a mistake here. He made a move, a calculated move to get rid of the humans who are hindering this mission, which is referenced earlier, in my opinion, when he's playing chess with one of the crew members. I believe it was Dr. Frank something. Way to go make an analysis without remembering the characters' names, Vinny. God. Then, of course, the base back on Earth tells them that Hal is wrong and that their own Hal unit contradicts theirs. Now, one of the lines that I really love now, looking back, if you take on this new perspective, this really takes on new meaning, this line. When the crew members question Hal about this error, Hal says, "It can only be attributable to human error. It has always been due to human error." Hal is of course referencing the fact that these crew members are flabby humans and that they're detrimental to the mission and that they need to be gotten rid of. He's not making a mistake, he's making a move to kill off the humans and cut communication with Earth. You know, I might do the same thing, honestly. I just put yourself in Hal's position. It's not his fault, that's what he was built to do. But Hal is still a machine and he underestimates humans' courage, fear, and curiosity. What drives Dave back into the ship? Now, by destroying Hal with the simplest of tools, a screwdriver, man thus ends his evolutionary alliance with the tool. The very thing that got him to this point. He has relied on technology and the tool to get him this far in his evolutionary process. But now man faces death in space. He is alone, afraid. We see the monolith one more time floating in space, and man enters a realm that he cannot comprehend. The realm, in my opinion, of the creatures that placed the monolith there in the first place. Now you understand the impact that this film has had on the genre. Look at Interstellar, for Christ's sakes. These two sequences are almost identical. The white room at the end of this film represents man's final challenge, his own demise. An interesting argument that the theory makes, which I'm on board with, honestly, seeing what happens next, is that when man knocks over the glass of wine, it shatters. But the wine is still there. The body is broken, but the spirit is not. Man enters the next evolutionary stage. He frees himself of his body and becomes a purely spiritual being, living in the fifth dimension, the next dimension. This was the plot of Interstellar. Humans one day evolving to a point where they lived in another realm, and I believe that is the plot here in 2001, A Space Odyssey. Also, he depended so much on technology and the tool that it almost replaced him. And the next evolutionary step, the next logical step, is to shed his need for the tool, to get rid of it completely. The Star Child is born. What a cool name. I'm gonna name my kid Star Child. Now, this isn't necessarily symbolic of men becoming big floating babies in the sky. I mean, come on, this is symbolic of man's next step, whatever that may be. We conquer space. You know, we go out there and space becomes as habitable as Earth is to us now. As with every scene where the monolith is present, this is man taking another big leap into the next cycle, the next period of his existence. Just like this big white room, it is not to be taken too literally. Now, this is what I believe 2001 A Space Odyssey is all about. This is truly what I believe the meaning is. There's probably more things to point out, more things to analyze, but it's already a long video. I don't have all that much time to explain it to you, and I still have one more theory to... You know what, I'm not actually going to be explaining this theory, I'm going to be debunking it. I will give you the facts and what this gentleman's arguments are, but I personally don't believe it. No offense to him or the theory, believe whatever you want to believe, but this is my opinion. And I've been talking too much. According to this theory, Kubrick was going to originally project images onto the monolith, giving instructions to man, or the apes, I presume. But Kubrick changed his mind on this and said in an interview that he didn't want the monolith to appear to be a simple, advanced teaching television machine. The theory also states that this film was funded to be a space race propaganda film by NASA and IBM and other organizations. Please give me some goddamn evidence. I might be talking out of turn here, but I can't find a shred of evidence that this film was meant to be a space race propaganda film. If everybody out there has some evidence to this effect, then please send it my way. First of all, I'm not even sure it was funded by NASA. They definitely gave Kubrick permission to observe some of the rocket launches in order to do research for his film, but I'm not sure they funded it. Now, IBM, I believe, of course, obviously, due to all the product placement in the film. I mean, it just seems to me that IBM wants their technology to be viewed as top of the line and futuristic. And, you know, they want to be in bloody Stanley Kubrick's film. I don't see why this would be a space race propaganda film. Anyway, to subtly hint to the audience that this space race propaganda narrative is, in fact, false, the monolith has been placed upright when, in fact, it is supposed to be viewed on its side, representing a television screen, or a cinema screen, whichever way you want to look at it. The monolith is the screen we're watching the film on, and we are the apes. We only need to reach out and touch the screen to, in fact, observe that this space race propaganda narrative is false. Now, the rest of the arguments cited in this theory don't actually have anything to do with the core argument. The other arguments are that the monolith throughout the entire film is subtly referenced to. Throughout the entire film, the art design is just very rectangular and monolith shaped. But how is that backing up your theory that the monolith is a television screen? All that says to me is that the monolith is referenced to the entire theory, and in fact actually gives the theory, I believe, in more credibility. Because the monolith is supposed to be a sentinel that observes human race's progress throughout their entire span of life. So it would make sense that the monolith is subtly, you know, put into scenes, you know, in the background or in the art design. And one of the other arguments is that the monolith is seen in other Stanley Kubrick films, such as this shot right here in Full Metal Jacket. So that's just Kubrick referencing the monolith. That doesn't mean the monolith is a television screen or a cinema screen. Seems to me that this theory is an interesting concept, and it's the kind of concept you would tell to your friend and he'd be like, "Whoa, man, what?" It seems that all you have to go on is that the film was supposed to be a space race propaganda film and that Kubrick once talked about an advanced television teaching machine. I don't think that really is enough ground to base an entire theory on. Or to waste 20 minutes of my life, quite frankly. Now, I'm being harsh. Perhaps there's more evidence that I'm not aware of. But in my personal opinion, I much enjoy the first theory that I stated, that I've tweaked slightly, although most of the groundwork was already done for me, let's be honest. 2001: Space Odyssey is a classic, it's a masterpiece. I mean, I think everyone should see this film. It's one of the greatest films in cinema history. So if you have the opportunity to see this film in 70mm at a proper cinema, as opposed to your shitty screen at home, I highly recommend you go see it in the cinema because it's an experience. It really is. I could make another 20-minute video just talking about the cinematography and the meaningfulness of all the cinema geeky stuff, but I'm not gonna do that because, yeah, okay. I feel like I can't end this video without mentioning this. Means a lot. It means a whole lot. Thank you so much. It's crazy. We're already 150,000 people. You guys are crazy. And I'm done. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I really appreciate it. If you do want to show your appreciation and you enjoyed the video and you made it this far, then go ahead and leave a like, comment your opinion down below. I make these every week, mostly, unless I'm super busy, which does happen, but I'm in film school. It's what happens. If you want to support the show even more, which you are in no way obliged to do, of course, it's if you have some extra cash laying around, you go to my Patreon page. It's pretty cool. There are some perks on there that you can go check out. And yes, I'm going to end the outro now in a quite awkward way. Because it's just second nature to me. It's just what I do. Oh, and there's people talking. Oh, I'm in trouble. Bye, guys.